Start off with a hot pan. Going to add some olive oil. Use a high-grade olive oil. I never use something cheap. Yeah, that's a hot pan. So we've added our olive oil to the pan. We're going to use sharp knife. Sharp enough to take the peel off the outside of that onion. So that's the first thing we're going to put in. This onion we're going to start by just slicing it. Rather big pieces. I want this to be kind of a rustic dish. So we add all the onion into the pan. Get that sizzling. Now the next thing we want to add after the onion is going to be some red pepper. It's not a bell pepper, it's like a bell pepper, but it's long, slender. I've already taken the seeds out of this. I've diced up quite a bit of it already. I'll cut the rest of this up. Slice it down the middle. So this will go quicker. Again, large pieces, they don't need to be so small. We're going to give that a little toss. Some nice colors going. Next we're going to add a sausage. The sausage is chorizo, however you want to pronounce it. Just a large sausage, and I chose a spicy one. Now some of the pieces I've already diced up. We'll go ahead and throw those in the pan, get those heating up, get the juices out of them like you can see on this cutting board. Juices, who are we kidding? It's fat. We'll slice the rest of this up and put it in as well. After that I want to add a little bit of saffron. Just a little bit. It doesn't take much to give it some good flavor. Speaking of flavor, we get all the rest of those juices in there. Again, another toss. Get that going. I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be right back. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is some garlic. And the garlic I have is some garlic I actually roasted a few weeks ago, packed it in olive oil, stored it in the refrigerator. Whenever I want it, here we go. We'll dump that in, all the juices that go along with it. A spice I like to use instead of a black pepper, what you would normally put in here, is called Grains of Paradise. I have a little grinder so I can grind them at whatever thickness that I want. As a comparison, Grains of Paradise are on your right, the black pepper is on the left. It looks like a peppercorn, in fact it is. It comes from Africa, has more of a cardamom, cinnamon flavor to it, and when I grind it, I want it to actually have kind of a sawdust consistency. So we'll do about a teaspoon. Should be enough to give us the flavor we want. It's going to give us a real nice peppery flavor, but it doesn't upset your stomach. You can eat as much as you want to. It goes well. Next I want to add 2 tomatoes. I've already sliced one of the tomatoes up in rather large pieces. I'm going to cut the head off. Again, large pieces. We don't want this to be so fine and small. Start to incorporate pretty well together. Now while that's simmering for a few minutes, it's time for a glass of wine. see red as a theme going on here tonight? Cheers. Okay, speaking of red theme, you can't have a Spanish dish without paprika. So we're just going to sprinkle that over everything in the pan. Going to add a little bit of salt as well. That cooking. Now we have a clean cutting board. The next thing I want to do is cut up some chives. I just pulled these out of the garden, cut them tonight. It's October right now. I'm still surprised we have quite a bit of this. The deer haven't eaten it. Just kind of coarsely cut these guys up. They don't need to be too fine. We'll add those to the pan. A lot of interesting flavors in this together. Another thing I pulled out of the garden tonight was oregano. Now this oregano has a real spicy flavor to it. It's not like dried oregano. Dried is more milder. I wanted something with a lot of pungent flavor to it. So what I've already done for you is I stripped the leaves off of the lower end of the stem. These upper leaves are not that great. They don't have the same flavor. They're pretty, but we don't want pretty, we want delicious. So we're just going to cut these guys up a little bit. Special about this, you're going to get the flavor in every bite. Okay, as far as herbs, that's it. We've added all the herbs, we have all the spices in there. The only thing that's left to do is let this continue simmering. Now the tomato is going to give this sweeter taste. Even though everything in here looks very red, you have a little bit of green herbs in it. Next thing we want to add is some lemon juice. We've got a lemon here, we'll just roll this up, loosen the juices. Got a juicer here. We can juice this so we don't get the seeds into it. Half a lemon should do the trick. A little bit, see how it's doing on the bottom. Keeping this on a high heat, once it all cooked really well, especially the chorizo. That looks pretty good. See, we're getting some bubbly mixture down in the bottom of it. I'll bring you closer so you can see that. The bottom, starting to get a little bit thickened. Put you back up on the fridge. You are the refrigerator, Cam. The next thing we want to add to this, when it starts thickening like that, apple cider. There's no magic quantity to it, but I'm just adding about a half a cup. It's going to work. It's great to get that apple taste into this, incorporated into it, the cider. It's a little bit spicy, and that's what we want, because this is a spicy dish after all. Just pour it off this guy. Now I cooked some rice ahead of time. Let's get a bigger spoon so we can really plate this up nicely. And I'm just going to put a big lob of rice in the middle of the plate. I'm going to push it down a little bit. Maybe put a little bit off to the side. Turn this burner off. We're ready to put this on. Get some juices. Pour those around on the plate. Oh gosh, that's delicious, spicy. Sweet peppers and tomatoes. You can taste the apple cider in there, that's really nice. So, cheers.